Hello everyone, how are you doing today? In this video, we're going to talk about credit card cash advances, how they work, and why you should only use them as a last resort. Before we get into the details, let's go over exactly what a cash advance is. A cash advance is normally used by people who are in a little bit of a bind. It's basically a short-term loan that is issued by your credit card company. Unlike a withdrawal from your bank, with a cash advance, you're expected to pay it back to the company that is issuing the credit card that you are using. Try to think of a cash advance basically as you buying cash with your credit card instead of the typical goods and services that you use your credit card for. Let's go over how much a cash advance costs. Typically, a cash advance on your credit card is going to be lower than your purchase limit. For example, if you have a credit card with a $5,000 purchase limit, typically your cash advance limit is going to be around $1,000, but it varies from company to company. Some companies actually let you take out the full amount of your purchase limit as a cash advance. Like I said, check with your company first to find out what your cash advance limit is. Now, credit card companies are not going to give you that cash out of the goodness of their heart. No, that's not the way it works. They make money on cash advances by charging you in a few different ways. You can get charged fees and you can get charged an interest rate. We're going to go over both of them right now. We're going to start off with fees. There are basically three ways a credit card company can charge you a fee for a cash advance. The first way a credit card company charges you a fee for the money that they're advancing you is they'll charge you a flat fee. I'll give you an example. Say you take a $1,000 cash advance. You get your bill later on in the month and they're expecting you to pay $1,010 back. That means that the credit card company is charging you a flat fee of $10. $10 is your flat fee rate. The other way they can charge you a fee is by charging you an interest rate. On that same $1,000, they're going to expect you to pay $1,050 back. That would be a 5% interest rate. The third and most common way a credit card company charges you a fee is by using a combination of both scenarios that I just described. Many credit card companies charge a flat fee or an interest rate, whichever is greater, as far as their fee structure goes. In the same scenario, with the same $1,000, right? We went over that it would cost you $10 if they charge you a flat rate fee. If they were charging you an interest rate fee, it would cost you $50. In that scenario, the credit card company is going to go with the interest rate fee because it's the greater of the two. Another thing to be concerned about when it comes to the cost of a cash advance is the interest rate that a credit card company is actually going to charge you. Know this, from the moment you take out a cash advance, the interest starts accruing. There is no grace period on cash advances. Interest starts accruing immediately. The national average, as far as interest rates go for cash advances, is around 22%. Depending on the credit card company, your rate can be anywhere from 20% to as high as 36%. Cash advance APRs are higher than your purchase APRs. Usually, they are significantly higher. So if your purchase APR is 15%, your cash advance APR could be as high as 25%. Sometimes they're even higher than that. So you may be saying to yourself, all right, but I need the money. How do I get a cash advance? There are three common ways you can get a cash advance from your credit card company. The most common way is you could walk up to an ATM, slide your card in, punch in your PIN number, and take out a cash advance. That's the way most people get a cash advance. Another way is you can go to a bank, you can sit down, talk to a banker, show them your card, show them your ID, and they'll issue you a cash advance on that card. Another way that a lot of people get tricked into using cash advances is by the checks that some credit card companies send you. Sometimes they'll send you a book of checks. If you write a check out, it goes towards your cash advance limit, and all the rules apply that we just went over. Credit card companies tend to issue these checks when there's not a lot of activity on the card, and they kind of want to jumpstart the activity on the card. They'll do that by issuing these checkbooks. Just be careful before you write any of these checks and make sure you know what the interest rate on them is. So now that you've taken your cash advance, let's go over how you pay back a cash advance and some of the pitfalls with that. As I said earlier, interest begins to accrue immediately. There is no grace period. Let's say you take a cash advance for $1,000 and your cash advance interest rate is 25%. $1,000 times 25% means you're going to be paying $250 if it takes you a year to pay back that cash advance. If we take $250 and we divide it by a year, 365 days, that means you're basically paying an interest rate that's effectively 65 cents a day. We haven't even added the other fees that we went over in the beginning of the video. So you can see this is a very costly way to borrow money. We recommend that if you are going to take a cash advance, please make sure you're in the type of position where you can pay back the cash advance as soon as possible. At the interest rate that credit card companies charge for cash advances, you really don't want to carry that balance for a long time. I think we've proven in our example that it's not the most efficient way or cost-effective way to borrow money. Just remember, when you swipe that card to purchase something, you have anywhere from 24 to 30 days as far as a grace period goes to pay for that good or service that you bought. With a cash advance, there's no grace period. I've said it 3 times in this video and I probably sound like a broken record, but I want to stress that because a lot of people get caught up not knowing some of the rules that apply to cash advances. I also want to point out that a credit card company legally has to apply the minimum payment towards your cash advance first before they apply any other part of your payment to your credit card. However, if you're like most people and you pay more than the minimum, they're going to take that amount above the minimum and put it towards your credit card debt. This basically means you need to pay off your debt first before you're actually paying off the cash advance. It's kind of a shady thing that all the credit card companies do, and it is totally legal. Basically, remember this: credit card companies don't want you to get out of debt because that's exactly how they make their money. Now that we've gone over the cash advance, all the pitfalls, and how to pay it back, let's talk about some alternatives to a cash advance so you don't have to put yourself in a bad position. Because cash advances are not cost effective when it comes to borrowing money, I recommend that you try anything first. Exhaust all resources before you actually go and get a cash advance. You should only be taking cash advances as an absolute last resort. Check with family and friends first. I know for a lot of people, especially a lot of prideful people out there, this may not be the best option, but it's better than putting yourself further in hock. See if you can get the money, especially if it's only a few $100s from some family and friends. It's better than taking a cash advance. Just make sure you pay them back just like you would the credit card company. See if your checking account that you opened actually has a checking line of credit. Some people have this attached to their checking account and they don't even know it because they never used it and they never got charged for it, but it's there. Lots of checking accounts have what's referred to as an overdraft line of credit. Basically what happens is if you zero out your account and you write a bad check, your line of credit kicks in and pays that check. When the bank does that, they charge you an interest rate for kicking in that line of credit so your check didn't bounce. If you have one of them attached to your bank account, this is definitely a more cost-effective way to borrow money as opposed to taking a cash advance from a credit card company. Now, you heard me say when I started talking about checking lines of credit that some people have them and they don't even know it. It's true. Believe me, I worked in a bank for 25 years. Some people have lines of credit on their checking account. They get charged an annual fee for it, and they don't even know that they have it. So make sure you check your checking account first, and make sure if you actually have a checking line of credit. If you do, it's a more viable option than a cash advance on a credit card. Another alternative, and this might be a little bit of tough medicine, some people don't like to hear this, but you got to sit down, you got to think to yourself, the money that I'm taking out, whatever I'm using that money for, do I really need it right now? I think a lot of times when people sit back, take a step back from whatever situation they're in, and they really think about it and contemplate whether they need that cash advance, I would guess to say most of the time, they don't really need that cash advance. If you can wait and not take that cash advance out, it might be financially prudent to do so. Sometimes in life, it just makes sense to take a step back, look at things from a different line of sight, and make sure you're actually doing the right thing before you put yourself into more unnecessary debt. So that's it. We kind of went over everything I wanted to go over. I just want to stress again, remember, cash advances from credit card companies are not a good thing. Do not use them unless you absolutely have to. They should be a last resort. They should be the absolute last thing you do if you really need money. Most people that are looking to get a cash advance are normally on their last leg and they're in a desperate situation. The credit card companies know this, and that's why they charge ridiculous rates and fees for cash advances. Please only use a cash advance if it is a true financial emergency or crisis and you have exhausted all other resources. So that's it, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, and we're going to see you guys on the next one.